Hello everyone, Gabe here, PC community developer here at Ubisoft, and today we're going to be diving into the PC settings for Assassin's Creed Valhalla so you have a better idea of all the tools that you have available to you to perfect your experience. But without further ado, let's get to it. Before we get started though, just a quick note on accessibility. It was super important for the team that you have all the tools that you need to make sure that you can have a comfortable experience, and you'll find a load of those settings scattered throughout all the various menus. But what better place to start right now than the screen settings? In the general options right at the top you'll see image calibration. Navigating in there you'll see options that you can adjust such as brightness, contrast, and the related HDR settings if you have compatible hardware. In addition to that, you also have the colorblind modes that you can enable and preview with the images on the right. Backing out of that menu and into the screen options again, you have an FOV slider that you can adjust to your liking as well as an FPS limit that you can set. In the display settings, there are a pretty standard array of options like selecting which monitor you want the game on, selecting your windowed mode, aspect ratio, resolution, and refresh rate. You can also enable or disable VSync or set it to adaptive, which is automatically enabled on high refresh rates and disabled on low ones to minimize stuttering. Finally, we have resolution scale that you can adjust either higher for more quality or lower for more performance. Next up we have the graphics settings that you can tweak. First off, as we scroll through all the different graphical quality presets that you can pick from, you'll see a handy preview image on the right. You can of course use that to see what you're adjusting and find the setting that you want to run with. In addition, you also have the VRAM indicator at the bottom so you can keep an eye on how much you're using. After that, we have adaptive quality that keeps your frame rate stable by automatically adjusting the game's resolution in resource-heavy situations, and anti-aliasing that you can set to reduce jagged edges to make the world objects more smooth. Next up, we have the world section. World details provides different levels of complexity for, world details, and clutter allows you to change the quality levels and distance for clutters, affecting things like grass and rocks for example. After that, we have the environment settings. Shadow changes the quality levels and distance of the shadows, and you can adjust the quality of the volumetric clouds. Water allows you to tweak your water quality settings and underwater effects, and you can also disable or enable screen space reflections on water surfaces. Within the textures, you have the environment textures that you can adjust to tweak the resolution within the environment, followed by the character that tweaks the resolution in the character textures. Within post-processing, you can select the level of depth of field you want or disable it altogether. When it's enabled, distant objects will appear blurry, and the low setting can help improve performance on higher resolutions. Finally, we have motion blur that can be enabled or disabled altogether. Now let's take a look at the control options that are available. At the top you have the input mode, which allows you to switch between different input modes. When you have hybrid mode selected, you can use multiple devices to give inputs at the same time. After that, you can adjust things like menu hold factor for hold actions in the menus, and then adjust between toggle and hold for things like crouch, aim, and quick wheel actions. You can also adjust the method of vertical control for your Raven. As we head into the keyboard and mouse section, you'll notice that there is a control preview on the right side that you can use to see what keys do what actions. In the keyboard and mouse section, you can dive into the customized controls to get a huge list of all the controls that you can customize to your liking. After that, you can adjust settings like the walk speed, mouse sensitivity, aiming sensitivity, and mouse acceleration. You can also change the X and Y axes of the mouse, enable or disable left-handed mouse, and lock your cursor to the screen frame when you're playing in borderless or windowed mode. In the final section, we have controller customization, where similar to keyboard and mouse, you can jump in and customize the controls and adjust your setup. After that, you have your X and Y sensitivity, as well as if you want your axes inverted, adjust the controller vibration intensity, and if you want to swap the sticks on the controller in different scenarios. Next up, we have the gameplay options. First up, you can enable or disable photo mode, and we definitely recommend that you keep it enabled and share all of your beautiful screenshots with us. QuickTime event input types allows you to change the type of input required to complete the QuickTime event from repeated, hold, or one time. Screen shake can also be turned off or on. In sensitive content, you can enable or disable a number of things depending on your preferences, and you can also adjust the amount of aim assist you want, as well as if you want to guarantee assassinations on all enemies. After that, let's take a look at all the options that you have available to you in the interface section. First things first, you can head into the image area calibration to adjust the area for your screen's display. After that, you can select from a variety of interface languages, text size, in-game icon size. If you're using something other than keyboard and mouse, you can have menu navigation be on the cursor or the focus, turn hold alternatives on or off, and you can turn the HUD background on or off. In the World and Quest section, you can enable or disable the mini quest log, compass, celebration, loot icons. In the hero area, you can enable or disable things like your own health and stamina bar, your oxygen gauge, and your experience and skill points. Within the enemies and fight section, you have a giant list of things that you can enable or disable, such as abilities and adrenaline, damage numbers, enemy info, target lock, and more. Finally, within Other, you can enable or disable tips and messages, contextual actions, and control hints. Now let's take a look at the sound options that you can adjust. Starting it off with the game's voice language that you can change to impact all the voices. Under that, you can adjust things like master volume to get everything in one fell swoop, or individually adjust things like music and sound effects. Dialogue Boost allows you to increase the volume of dialogue, and you can adjust the audio dynamic range to give you a larger range with full or a smaller range with night. Music frequency allows you to change the cooldown time before exploration music triggers, where low makes the music play less often and high more often. And you can enable or disable collision sound that gives you an additional sound when your character can't move further. In the subtitles and closed caption settings, you can adjust if you want subtitles to be on, if you want closed captions, which can be useful if you need some additional notifications for different in-game actions, language of the subtitles, size they appear in, if you want to add a background to them and tweak the opacity of that background, and if the subtitles should include the speaker's name. Finally, under menu narration, you can toggle it on or off completely, change the gender of the narration voice, the pace of the narration, and volume. Finally, let's take a look at the third-party section. At the top, you can enable or disable MSI's Mystic Light if you have the compatible hardware and software installed, and under that, you have a big list of the Tobii eye tracking settings that you can tweak to your liking if you also have one of those devices. As always though, there are a few important things to note before you jump into Assassin's Creed Valhalla, especially on the performance side. Keep an eye on background programs that you have running that could be eating up resources. Update all your relevant drivers, and make sure that you're on the latest Windows update. Thanks for watching everyone, we hope that gives you a good idea of all the options that you have available to you in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. As always, you'll find a link to all of their channels down in the description below so you can stay up to date on all the latest news. But that's it for now, we'll see you next time, bye.